Ladies and gentlemen, when we play music, we want to transfer the message of the composer to our audience or to ourselves. We've been talking on this channel a lot about what's beyond the notes. Why does music resonate in the way it resonates? But in this video, I want to start like a new kind of series where we highlight some small parts of a score and talk about technique. Because many people forget, and many of you as well, that it all starts with your technique. And technique is not just learning the notes. Technique goes controlling a system, your body, your fingers, the way you press the notes, but also which finger you choose for which note. In other words, fingering is crucial because when we play music, you have to listen to the music, you have to correct when you are playing on the go, you have to read the notes, you have to apply the things that you want to apply in order to make the score expressive. All these things are super complex. So whatever we can do to make sure that things go a little bit automatic, we should do that. And fingering is your best friend. I want to zoom in on one or actually two bars of Bach's first Invention. The majority of you watching right now, I'm sure you have played this piece. And I'm playing from a score by Carl Czerny. And now you could say, like, why is Wim playing from a score that is published by Carl Czerny? Obviously for the piano, which is correct. But I'm taking this score because it gives us a unique opportunity to talk about the importance of fingering. And so let's dive into that. But we have here a metronome mark. I will be talking about that at the end of this video. It will be very, very interesting. So when we zoom in on the score here, the first two bars, we see that Carl Czerny has a bow here. That's clearly added. He wants, apparently, this to be one motive. And he clearly interprets the score as a motive that has these famous notes, and the second motive. So when you play Carl Czerny's fingering, you have this. So a very strong accent on the G, on this note in fact here. We're going to talk about how many people, many of you as well, play it with the second finger here. That's for in a second. I want to show you the importance of fingering right now. So when I play this piece, I actually see this motive as important, like this, here. So you have the rest and we have the second motive starts here. So I changed that a little bit. And now that's a discussion, you can have that forever. I'm not gonna say that here that Carl Czerny was completely wrong. He was a student of Beethoven after all, and Beethoven was kind of third generation of Bach student now. It's all a little bit shaky, these traditions and things like that, but nevertheless, I mean, learning Bach from Beethoven, who was after all also a student of Gottlob Neefe, so really in the late Bach tradition, that means something. So we have no idea how Carl Czerny actually reflected on this piece, whether he wanted to follow what he learned with Beethoven or he just wanted to give like his updated taste of like in the 1830s when he published or 1840s, around that time, this publication, this edition. I have no idea. It's interesting to see a difference in interpretation here. So for me, the motive here is I see it a little different, and that's going to be reflected in my fingering because I end here with the fifth finger on the G. Now, you could say, let's enlarge it a little bit. You could say like, okay, but how on earth am I going to play this G, this C in the top? Because my hand ends here, and so I have to jump to the C. Well, that depends. So if we take here a fourth finger or third finger, whatever suits you the best, there is no other way to reach that note than to release this note and to move your hand So we have two things here, with a fingering that reflects my interpretation here, the motives. I want to end this motive on the G, I'm doing that. And then I want to highlight the beginning of this motive as well. So there is an articulation, a phrasing if you want, a separation between the G and the C. And since we have that articulation, we have time to move our hand from the G to the C. We don't have to rush. We don't have to do this. We don't need that. So there are two things here, the fingering and the way we release the key. That's technique. Both go hand in hand, so technique has many layers. This is a very simple example. And if you scroll further to the invention, then you will see that this particular motive, like this consecutive motives, is only occurring in the first two bars. The rest is actually simpler. You only have and this motive and then what comes next. But imagine, nevertheless, by the way, is iconic. If you play, I mean, the beginning of the music is iconic. If you play it like this, or this, it's a huge difference. And the fingering reflects the different interpretations. Now imagine that you would take this kind of principle and you take a three-part voiced fugue, or the three-part invention, or like further inventions. Like if you have this fingering reflecting your interpretation, your division of the motives, because that's Baroque music. Baroque music is all about motives and how do you combine this and where do you phrase and where do you articulate. And your fingering reflects that each and every time, in every hand and every voice. Then you don't have to think about it anymore. So you're playing this complex fugue or this simple, quote unquote simple. The inventions are super difficult. They're not easy. Like independence of hands and things like that, we can talk about that in the future. But then at least of the separation of these motives, you never have to think about anymore. It goes automatically because I don't have a choice. So here when the left hand starts, I'm just releasing the right hand. And so this articulation comes not only automatically, but it comes also very naturally. And on top of that, you don't have to think about it because you've studied your fingering. So it's just a little tip, you know, I mean, we can dive so much deeper in this, but that's of course, I mean, that's not feasible to paste that into one YouTube video. I just want to make you think about the importance of fingering and try it out. Take your score of the invention and play it and let me know how it works. And by the way, I will upload my score with my fingering. There will be a link in the description box, so you can click on that and that will lead you to a download page where you can download my personal score of the first invention for you to just check. I hope you can read my fingering. It's like a little bit of, for me it's very clear, but some people say that my handwriting is not very nice. Now, the end of this video, quarter note 138. Many of you know that I'm working on a book which is called Fixing the Beethoven Mistake. That's all about reconstructing metronome marks in the 19th century. I've made a ton of videos on that. You can scroll back to the channel if you happen to find my channel. Me talking about, and for videos, me talking about Bach and interpretation. I have made in the past a lot of videos on tempo reconstruction, all kind of evidence and things like that. It was kind of heated debate sometimes, but this is a very important and very interesting example. Journey gives quarter note 138 in this French edition of the Bach. He has also a German edition, but it was very, I mean, Journey, unbelievable what he published, what he worked. I mean, the guy was just crazy. was actually one of the great minds of the 19th century in terms of music, and we underestimate what Czerny actually left. And many of his scores apparently are still unpublished. There is a whole story to that, but that's for another time. Or go to our podcast. We are talking about Karl Czerny. There are a lot also about these aspects. But 138, when I play 138, so a metronome mark is a unique witness. It's a unique historical fact. It's like a time capsule. I mean, you try time travel to the past, because Czerny's metronome, which had a pedal obviously, gave this tempo. So we're reconstructing something with 100% accuracy that happened at the time when he was playing this piece. How cool is that? And that for all the composers in the 19th century. Now, many of these metronome marks are completely ignored for a good reason, because when you play it literally, then it doesn't make any sense apparently. And so over the time of like a century, we just lost interest in them because they're technically impossible, or when people can play them, in some cases it's possible, then musically it's like, yeah, absurd in some cases. Unfortunately, we're getting used to these incredibly fast performances. But let me just play for you the beginning of this in Czerny's tempo and see what you think about it. I'm sure that your reaction now is like with many people that I've played this piece for in this tempo, it's saying like, Czerny is fast. These metronome marks are fast. I mean, generally today we don't hear this piece in that tempo. We hear it more up, which is a tiny bit slower. But I was playing Czerny in what we call whole beat. When you would play it in single beat, so our modern reading, the way all musicologists and musicians today read these historical metronome marks, then this piece shows how ridiculous it is. So it's a tempo in like, it's almost unplayable at the clavichord. I'm not gonna try even. So it's a very interesting example, because we all know the inventions. Czerny gives in the preface of this, he writes that this is an easy piece, belongs to the easy pieces of Bach. And so then he gives a metronome mark what completely contradicts everything that he writes, and it's impossible to play. Just go through the score with this tempo, with all the ornaments and all the fingerings that he has for the ornaments, and then you say only this piece is enough to say like, to make you doubt the current reading of those historical metronome marks. But the book is going to highlight all of that. This manuscript is actually ready. Peter is my friend in England. He's just going over all the text to correct the English and to make it like more whatever English we need to publish this book. Anyways, that was very interesting, but the detail in this video, don't forget, your fingering is your best friend. There are principles to make fingerings, and we're going to talk more about it in the future. Also, I'm going to work on my learning platform where all of these aspects I can highlight more. I can go much more in depth and much more organized. You will have fingering, you have posture, you have everything. I'm working on that. That will be for the end of this year, I think, that we launch that. There's a link in the description also for my email list. Just put your name on that, and I will not spam you, but I give you information from time to time when things happen, when we release recordings, when we publish things, or when that learning platform is going to happen. You don't want to miss that, because we're going to do special things at the beginning for people who join early. Okay, hope you enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments if you like this type of video where I just highlight one little piece of technique for you to learn, and I will be more than happy to make more of that. That was all I've got for you today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for learning together with me. We will see each other very soon again. Bye.